I arrived at my sister's home, tucked quietly at the end of a peaceful street. There was a comforting familiarity in the air, a place where memories seemed to linger. She greeted me with a warm hug. "It's been too long," she said, guiding me inside. The days began calmly. Her son, Ethan, had recently moved back home after finishing grad school, and his presence subtly shifted the energy in the house. At 25, he wasn't the kid I remembered. He carried himself with a quiet self-assurance and an easy smile that made conversations feel natural. We started spending time together, talking on the porch, sharing stories. He spoke thoughtfully about his travels and the people he'd met, each word measured, full of life. I was drawn in, captivated by the way he told stories. One evening, under a pink-hued sky, he shared a hilarious tale about getting lost in Italy, and I laughed harder than I had in ages. He watched me with soft eyes. "I'm glad you're here," he said gently. Something stirred inside me, warmth, confusion, but I quickly brushed it away. Little things began to catch my attention. The way he made my coffee just right without asking. How he'd quietly place a blanket over me when I dozed off on the couch. How his gaze lingered a beat too long when we locked eyes. One afternoon, I struggled with a jar in the kitchen. Ethan stepped in behind me to help, and when our hands touched, time seemed to stop. "Got it," he said, smiling, but I barely heard him. My thoughts were racing. I scolded myself, he's family. This wasn't supposed to happen. That night, I lay awake, replaying every little moment. I reminded myself that closeness was natural, especially in a safe space. But deep down, I knew it was more. The next evening, as rain scented the air, he handed me a warm cup of tea. "You okay?" he asked softly. I nodded, though the words stuck in my throat. I wanted to tell him everything. The feelings I didn't understand. The strange pull I felt toward him, but I stayed silent, pretending nothing had changed. Inside, everything had. The next morning, sunlight streamed in as I sat stirring my coffee. I kept thinking about the touch of his hand. It seemed silly, but the memory clung to me. Then he walked in, casually dressed, sleeves rolled up, forearms flexing. "You're quiet today," he said, sitting beside me. "Just thinking," I muttered, forcing a smile. Later, I joined him in the kitchen. "Need help?" I offered. He grinned. "Sure, but I'm serious about my cooking." I laughed, and for a moment, things felt light again. We moved easily around each other, passing utensils, joking, bumping shoulders. When our hands touched reaching for the same cutting board, we froze. "Sorry," I said, stepping back. He smiled, but his expression had shifted, something deeper in his eyes. That night, we watched a movie while a storm shook the windows. I wrapped myself in a blanket, and without a word, he sat closer, resting an arm around me. I should have pulled away, but instead, I leaned in. I told myself it was comfort, nothing more, but the way his fingers traced gentle circles on my arm said otherwise. The next day, I tried to keep my distance, hiding upstairs until lunchtime. When he called me down, I couldn't ignore him. We ate in silence until he finally spoke. "You've been avoiding me," he said gently. I froze. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. "You don't have to explain," he said, his eyes searching mine. I get it, but he didn't. Not really, because I was scared. Scared of what I was feeling. That evening, another storm rolled in. The power went out, and Ethan lit candles, placing one between us at the table. The flickering light danced across his face. "You've grown up," he said quietly, eyes steady on mine. "I guess," I whispered. He leaned forward, voice low. "You've been on my mind. And I know I shouldn't feel this way, but..." He stopped, hesitant. My heart pounded. I should have ended it, but I didn't. "I feel it too," I said softly. He exhaled slowly, like he'd been holding it in. Something felt like it might happen, something we couldn't undo. But then he leaned back, running a hand through his hair. "This isn't right," he murmured. "Your family. I don't want to hurt you." "I know," I said quietly. The silence between us was heavy. "I think I should leave early," I finally said. He nodded. "Maybe that's best." The morning I left came too soon. I packed in silence, my mind spinning. Before I walked out, I sat at the kitchen table and wrote a note. "I don't know what this feeling means, or if I should even be feeling it, but I know it's real, and I know you feel it too. I'm leaving because it's the right thing to do, but I'll always carry this with me. Thank you for making me feel safe, cared for, and seen." I placed the note on the counter and left. I hadn't even made it 2 blocks before my phone rang. It was him. "I read your note," he said, his voice tight, "and I need you to know, you're not alone in this." Tears welled in my eyes. "I care about you too much to let this turn into something we regret," he said steadily. "I understand," I whispered. "You're special to me. That doesn't have to change just because you're leaving." A bittersweet smile touched my lips. "Take care of yourself. You too. And if you ever need me, I'm here." I ended the call and took a deep breath. Some connections are meant to be remembered, even if they can never become more